Welcome back to Canon Unscripted, where we explore the stories and insights of some of the most fascinating people in their fields. I'm your host, Mason Higa, and this is our show by Canon USA. It's an opportunity for us to sit down with some of our favorite photographers, filmmakers, and creatives to talk about what makes them click and how they've pursued their passions, which evolved into their careers. And of course, since this is a Canon show, we talk about the Canon gear that they use to bring their vision to life. To find out more about all of the products, please go to usa.canon.com/unscripted and subscribe to our socials to keep up with the latest and greatest. Today, we have a special treat for all of you wanderlust enthusiasts out there. Imagine capturing the essence of a bustling city, the serenity of a hidden beach, or the heart-pounding excitement of an adventurous foreign land, all through the lens of a Canon camera. That's exactly what our guest today does, and he does it with incredible passion and flair. We'll be talking with Sam Newton, a travel videographer whose YouTube channel has become a go-to source for breathtaking travel content and immersive storytelling. So if you've ever dreamed of wandering through distant lands or enjoy living vicariously through others' adventures, you're in for a treat. I had an incredible time during our conversation and thankful for Sam coming on to the show. Without further ado, here's my unscripted conversation with Sam Newton.
Like I remember buying my R5 and just geeking out with my buddy. Like, dude, this camera is insane. Like when the R5 first came out, we're freaking out. And I remember that moment. And full circle, 4 years later now, like I'm a part of the R5 Mark II launch. Like that's insane.
Sam, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yay! Insert applause.
Live studio audience.
Live studio. No, we're here. We have Tony. We have Tony on the board. You know, I always got to give a shout out to Tony.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Shout out Tones.
But really appreciate you taking the time. I know you have a busy schedule, and we're just really happy to have you here on the show. So thanks for coming down.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to dive into this, and thank you for being here, for watching. You at home.
Yes.
I'm stoked.
Yep.
Yeah.
And listening as well, too, because it is going to be on podcast. Yeah. Like and subscribe on Apple's podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else that, you know, popular podcasts.
Quality plug.
There you go. We got to get it in.
You know what you're doing.
We got to get it in. So, Sam, let's get into it, right?
All right.
People want to know.
Nobody wants to know.
People want to know.
What's up?
What was it like growing up, Sam? I mean, really, let's just start from the beginning here. Yeah, you know, let's build the story up.
The whole Sam Newton lore
The
here?
whole Sam Newton lore.
I'm from Claremont, California, so not too far from here.
All right.
Born and raised in Claremont. I went to UC Davis for college, and that's kind of where I found my love for filmmaking. I've always been a creative person growing up, but I never really like picked up a camera until I was around like 18, like right as I started heading into college. And UC Davis, big agricultural science school, so not really someplace you go to make films.
Right.
And I quickly realized that, and I quickly realized that there was this opening in a market where everyone just did agricultural science. Everyone did a big veterinarian school, and nobody really made films. And as like a 19-year-old, I really found this love for it and started making films on campus. And they picked up a lot of momentum, and I kind of built a monopoly over my college campus of like, if you wanted a video, you went to Sam.
That's the guy.
Yeah, that's the guy. And I don't know, I think it was a blessing in disguise, because when I first realized I wanted to do it, I was thinking, I'm like, man, do I need to go to USC? Do I need to go to a film school at UCLA? And I quickly realized, I'm like, this was actually the perfect environment for me, because, you know, there wasn't a film program, because there weren't too many creative people. It switched on my entrepreneurial brain, and I was able to not only make the things that I love, but learn from an early age how to be a businessman, how to, you know, talk to clients, how to sell myself. And I think it was an absolute blessing in disguise, because by the time I was graduating from college, I had paid off a lot of my student loans. I had the momentum and the confidence to be like, well, I don't really think I want to apply for jobs, because I've been doing this long enough in college. And so I just kind of took the leap and tried to become a travel filmmaker. I was luckily living with my parents at the time, so I had that privilege of, if it all failed, I could just come back. I didn't have to pay rent. I was still on my mom's health insurance. It was kind of that sweet spot between 22 and 25 where, and I was willing to just live out of a backpack. And so all I wanted to do was travel, and spent the next about 4 years pretty much doing just that, just traveling the world and doing whatever it took to hit up a brand and say, like, all you need to do is get me on an airplane and give me a place to stay.
Yeah.
I'll take care of my own food. I'll take care of my own drink. Just fly me out there and I'll make a video for you in exchange. And I did that for a couple of years. And I quickly realized, I'm like, all right, there's a market for this. That was in like 2016, 2017. And then I started building up a travel media company at like 23, 24 years old. And by the time that started kind of building some momentum, COVID hit. I made the adjustment into YouTube because I had all this travel footage. And I was like, well, I've always wanted to do YouTube. Let's give it like an actual try. And then things started to take off during COVID for YouTube. And I was like, well, let's do this full time. And yeah, it's been working out ever since. That's the whole
that was the whole shebang.
Sam Newton for dummies right there.
That's that's the quick.
Exactly.
But I mean, that you touched upon so many things here, you know. So we'll bring it back and everything. But I mean, it really is pretty inspiring to hear that you just took the initiative and went with it, right? Like you did have some of that freedom as well as security to really just harness it and pursue your passions, right? So big shout out to mom and dad, right?
Absolutely.
For the support, you know. But so where were you that, you know what, why UC Davis? Why
it was just the best school I got into.
Yeah.
At the time I was, you know, when you're 18, you just kind of go into the list of schools, and I was like, well, academically, it's a great school. It's a very good school, and I went there, met some people when I visited that I was like, all right, I could see myself here. Yeah. And it just kind of started an era in my life where I wasn't sure about going there at all, but I went, and you know, there's a reason for everything. And I picked up a camera and, you know, never looked back.
Yeah, because it's so cool to hear that, like you said, like you were kind of the guy, you know, and instead of going to UCLA or USC where it
would be a completely saturated market. Yeah.
Right. You took the opposite way and somehow you navigated and you found a way to make it work for you.
I did.
Yeah. That's actually really cool. If anybody takes it away, that's actually the really
we were
interesting
just talking
thing,
about this before, where it's like in life, you always think, you know, when something bad happens to you, you immediately think in the moment, you're like, this is the worst thing that could ever happen in my life.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it's just kind of a blessing in disguise. And not that getting into Davis was a bad thing at all, but you know, I remember that my second year, I was immediately thinking, like, when I started falling in love with filmmaking, I'm like, should I try transferring? Should I try to go to a prestigious film school? Like, what should I do? And I stuck it out there. And yeah, if I would have went to USC or UCLA, I wouldn't have been the person that I am today. Plus, I probably would have been pushed. I think the downside of film school is a lot of times they push you into the structure of like, this is how you do it. This is how you get a job in the film industry. And it's very structured. And this allowed me to have a more creative approach to it, where I'm like, I can kind of do it my own way. And the internet was just starting to, like, it was mostly Facebook at the time, but like people were sharing videos, and it was still like a new age of digital marketing to get videos for like small businesses. So people weren't turning to normal videographers. They were turning to young kids that knew how to get your video seen. And it was a cool kind of like the Old West, but in video world. And it was just kind of the right time, right place.
But you hustled though as well too.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Like, I've always had that kind of, I love it. I love the grind. I love making things happen. And I think there was a little bit of like my like hard-headedness of, I've always thought I was good, even when I look back now and I'm like, those were not good videos at all.
They're great videos.
Yeah, but there was always a little bit of me that was kind of like blindly, like I had blind belief in myself, which, you know, may have came from my parents, may have came from my just natural, just striking good looks in life. No, but I've always, that was a joke for people who don't know me. I've always just had this kind of belief that like, hey, if anybody can do it, why not me?
Yeah.
And then like, I think that time in college kind of created that reality for me where I'm like, okay, well, this is possible. And then, you know, travel. I had never really traveled. I'd left the country one time to go to Mexico when I was 16. But I never left North America. I'd never really done proper trips. You know, my family, we never went abroad. I'd never been to Europe. I'd never been to other countries. And so I was like, I love making films. I really, really want to travel. How can I blend these two worlds? And I did that for about a year and a half. And then I met Luke Jackson Clark, who was my old business partner. And he was the first person that I ever met that also wanted to shoot and travel, that didn't connect with me on the level of like, when I told people when I'm 22, I'm like, I want to be a travel filmmaker. The first thing that people say are like, oh, cool. Like, that's good luck there, pal. Not the smartest industry to go into, or like, yeah, I'm sure you do. But he was the first person that I met that I talked to that genuinely like approached me with like oh, that's awesome. How are you going to do that? And then I was like, oh, okay, cool. He's like, because that's what I want to do. He did photography. He's like, I want to do the same thing. Like, how can we do that? And it was the first person that I've ever had a conversation with that wasn't like oh, are you sure? Or like, oh, that's neat. And then just kind of stops, but like kind of dug deeper. Like, okay, if you want to do that, how are you going to make that happen? Yeah. And the kind of light bulb switched in my head. And he and I ran a company together for a couple of years and really just, you know, started from the ground up. He was 19, I was 23 when we started. And so not too many people gave us the time of day, but we knew, we were like, hey, if we formed a company, you know, if it wasn't 19-year-old Luke and 23-year-old Sam, if it was Move to Create, which was our company name, and people reached out, they didn't know how old we were. They didn't know anything about us because we had the company as the overhead there. Exactly. Right? We had the emails and all that. Yeah. And very quickly people started giving us the respect because our work spoke for itself. And it was a really cool learning curve, and no one taught us what to do. And I was just kind of like, why not me? I really love traveling, and still to this day, it's like one of my biggest passions in life, and it's something I wanted to make happen. And I was blessed to luckily run into the right people. I do believe you create your own luck. And while I was traveling, I just met Luke in a hostel one day, and he was like, I want to make this happen. I'm like, I do too. And it was good. It was really nice. Yeah.
You mentioned already that you paid for all your schooling, and so you did that while in school. So you like got that.
Yeah, well, shout out Susan Newton, my mom. She was able to get a small college fund together. I think she had like $20,000 or something. So my first like year of college was covered by my mom. Yep. You know, amazing.
Thanks, Mom.
Shout out Susan. Yep. And then the other 3 years were basically just loans, and I was considering, like, my junior year, I was considering dropping out because I was like, I know what I want to do. I want to make videos. Like, why pay more loans? But I was able to, through that, not all of them, but like I'd say 75% of my student loans were paid off before I even left college, just through making videos. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. See, like, again, like that goes to show, like, you already had that entrepreneurial spirit, that can-do attitude, right? Like, hey.
Yeah, a little bit, but I think most of it, I don't think it's something you have innately. I think it's something you do. Right. You know? And it was something I was just throwing in the fire, and I'm like, well, I obviously didn't know what it meant to be an entrepreneur. I didn't know how to do it, but it was just something where I was in the right situation. I'm like, well, people want videos from me, so like I'm gonna have to learn. And I was making like $200 a video. I wasn't making a lot of money. Okay. But like doing enough of those where it started to add up. And I think, you know, I don't like to take it from the approach of like, oh, I had that entrepreneurial instinct. It's like, I think for most people too, you might not think you have it, but the only way to do anything is by doing it, you know? And so you have to like start digging through the, digging through the dirt and really climbing yourself out until you see that side of yourself. Like, wow.
So you were just hungry to just do it, right? It wasn't like, hey, how do I make a quick buck? But it was,
and I love doing it. It was coming from a place where I'm like, this is so much fun. Yeah. I could make like $100 a paycheck at my, you know, school job, or I can make $100 a video. I'm like, easy
video.
Yeah. Every day. Yeah.
How many videos do you think you did before you finished college?
God. You could look. My Vimeo is still live right now. I think there's about
290
of those numbers. Oh, I think it's like 500 videos on my.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's a ton. I made a lot.
Okay.
A lot of videos. Yeah. And then you include YouTube throughout the years. And
right.
There's been quite a few.
Yeah, because again, it's like you cut your teeth on creating all that stuff.
And it was everything, right? It was like I was filming podcasts for certain people. I made like pharmaceutical commercials. I made sorority videos. I made sports videos. I made local commercials, product videos, weddings. I shot a ton of weddings. Anything. If you reached out to me and I had time, I was making that video happen. And, you know, it worked for me at the time. I wouldn't suggest it to everyone to use that approach, but yeah.
So how did you learn?
By doing that? Yeah. I didn't learn a single. I was a digital media major at Davis, but I can tell you right now, I did not learn a single thing. Not to slight the UC Davis digital media department, but man, maybe there were a couple things that I picked up here and there, but for the most part, it was like I learned by going out in the field and making things, and I just had that true love for it, and I think when you have that passion and enthusiasm, the learning is a little bit easier because you're like, this is fun. And it just starts to kind of happen, you know? You're not thinking about it as like, I'm learning right now. You just do it and you're like, oh man, I shouldn't do that next time. I shouldn't do this next time. Yeah.
So just learn by fire or
trial and error.
Trial and error.
Trial by fire.
Were you part of like a group or a community or anything like that? Or were you just solo? And
no, the one person, this is actually kind of a cool story. David Suh, who's a Canon shooter.
Yeah, David.
And he went to UC Davis with me. He actually shot my senior portraits. Fun fact.
Oh, really?
People might know David. He's huge on TikTok, an incredible portrait photographer. Yeah, we went. He was one of the, like 2, maybe 3 creative people I knew in Davis, and it was cool because he had started doing portrait photography in Davis and found his little bubble, and I was doing a lot of videos. And full circle now, we're at the Times Square event in New York a year ago, and it's just a really, really cool thing to go from being 21. Meeting this guy in my design class or something, and to now sharing a Times Square billboard for Canon.
There you go.
It was a really cool full circle moment. But yeah, there weren't too many creative people in Davis, but you know, me and David came out of it. So hey, maybe there's something about that little cow town out there by Sacramento.
Something about that water out there,
go
you know?
Ags.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe in like 10 years, 20 years time, you know, you never know, right? You could have your own class in UC Davis.
UC Davis professor, the Sam Newton Media Department.
Sam Newton Media Department.
All right, hit me up.
You know, so and it's so funny too. Highly recommend. As I was doing my research for Sam's interview, the chemistry
love affair.
Chemistry love affair. Just look it up. Have a good laugh. That the music, the rap, and all your friends that were in the video as well too. Like that was. That was
for context, it's a video I made when I was 16 about my high school chemistry. I gotta make sure every time I set this down, I set it down, logo out. Canon. Hey,
Canon.
Quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, Canon. Thanks for putting us on. But it was a video I made, when I was 16, and it was about dude, one of those things where we're like, now I don't know if it would fly, but the whole concept was that me and my 3 buddies were in love with our chemistry teacher. And that is called Chemistry Love Affair. And I had to like switch out of the chemistry class. And it was just kind of this joke about how we were all obsessed with him. And it was a fun thing. But I've always been a creative person and I love making stupid videos. And I think I've kept that with me for a very long time where I just, you know, keep that same enthusiasm that I know 16-year-old Sam had making videos, that same dumb energy, that same dumb humor. And keeping it with me throughout the years, I feel like it's been very integral into my career.
What's it mean to you to be a creative person?
There's nothing else I could be doing. 0% chance. Like in terms of job wise, like I'm a very creative person. I'm an ideas guy. Like I have so many ideas. I write and like. I think there's a lot of ideas people, but where I think I found my success is that perfect storm of like, I'm an ideas guy, but I'm also a doer. I'm also someone that like, all right, I have this idea. And I think it's easy to just have an idea and let it sit for a while. It's like, I want to see this idea come to life and I want to see it come to life yesterday. And so when I have an idea, I'm like, cool, let's run with it. And I try to bring the right people together and try to make it happen. Cause sometimes it's the best idea ever. Other times it's the stupidest idea ever, but you'll never really know until you do it. I wouldn't want any other life. I love the autonomy that being a creative person gives you. And I just, YouTube especially, like I get to make whatever I want on a daily basis. I get to travel the world. I get to work with incredible people like you and incredible clients like Canon. And it's a truly special life that I live and a very privileged life that I live. And I hope to just pass that enthusiasm that I have for creating onto other people, and hopefully build a community of people that genuinely want to make things. Because I feel like nowadays too, it's with the algorithms and everything, you're pushed into this. It makes creating not fun. You know, you're like, how can I get these numbers? How can I get these views? And it becomes very rigid and it takes all of the art out of creating. And if my goal for my channel is anything, is like just continually making things for yourself and continually reminding yourself, hey, okay, I know I need to make a few videos or take a few photos to pay the bills, but like, what's that one project that I want to do this year? And if I can inspire more people to go after that, then I think I've done my little part in the world.
No, for sure. Because I think so many of us don't spend that time to do something for themselves. Right?
Yeah, it's so easy to just get caught up in what's the next one. Especially again, when it comes from a monetary standpoint, like a lot of people, it's like you are living paycheck to paycheck and it's harder. But if you're even like on a small scale, able to just take one day, if you're a photographer, take one day to just go on a walk and be like, what's one thing I want to shoot? I'm going to just shoot that for myself. I think that goes so much further than people think, and making sure you're slotting out time for that, time for creativity for yourself, because as artists, it's so important.
Because your diversity as far as like your videos, like you already mentioned, right? Your YouTube videos.
It's all over the place.
It's all over the place, right? From music videos to travel to even home decoration or office makeovers, right? Office makeovers. I mean, what's your process in choosing your next video? Is it just whatever piques your interest?
Yeah, I mean, for those of you who don't know, I make kind of like Lil Dicky style, funny raps about cameras. Is about as niche as it gets. And they're normally just stupid songs that my buddy Marco, he will send a beat over and he's like, I think you might like this. And then I'll just sit there and like, all right, I can write to this. And I just write down funny thoughts and try to turn it. But that again, like, is such an outlet for me when films, like even as a travel filmmaker, it's an incredible job, but it's still a job. And sometimes it gets a little redundant and tiring, and being able to make like music is another outlet. And so it's something else. And that's why I think I'm kind of all over the place when it comes to my content, because I'm able to and YouTube gives you the freedom to do that. And I'm able to if I want to make a travel film, I can make a travel film. But if I want to make something else and I'm a little tired of this kind of niche, it gives me that liberty to kind of hop around. And that's why I love YouTube so much. And my audience, I think, resonates with that. And as long as I bring that same passion and enthusiasm and effort to the table, then I think it does well.
Yeah. I mean, because everybody's tuning in for you now, right? You've reached, hey, round of applause for Sam. But really, like, you've reached that point now where people are tuning in for you.
Which is what makes YouTube so amazing, is like you can actually build a genuine connection with your audience specifically that no other platform. TikTok, you might blow up faster. Instagram Reels, you might blow up faster. But that like the depth that you create on YouTube is so cool. And it's very important for me and my channel to just have, sit down videos where I'm just talking to my subscribers, and I think I create that connection a lot deeper than most people do on any other social platform. And so I think YouTube is still very much alive and well. And even in the photo video space, mostly like the video space, there aren't too many YouTubers. There really aren't. And I'll get asked by a sponsor being like, we're trying to work with more YouTubers. Do you know somebody you could connect us with? And it's a very small little world, but people will still try to convince you that it's oversaturated and there's too many people in it. But if you have your own voice and your own way of telling a story, then jump in. It's a fun life. It's a grind, but once you get there,
just hit record and go, right?
Exactly.
So what's next as far as your interest and your channel? Where do you see like the growth and the development going with it?
I don't know. I'm not a big 5-year goals guy. I'm not a big 3 years down the line. My big North Star is like constantly checking in with myself and asking myself, like, does this feel right now? Am I enjoying what I'm doing right now? And if the answer to that is yes, I'm going to keep doing it. Yeah. And so for now, I want to keep making travel films. I have a rare opportunity that 1% of 1% of 1% of people in the history of humanity has ever had. And I recognize that. And it's incredible. Where like if I wanted to go to Alaska tomorrow and make a film, I could do that. And I don't want to say that in a pretentious way, but like in a way that I know I've worked hard for this life, but I also want to share my love for creating, my love for traveling, and my love for combining those two with the world. And it's really, really important to me that I take advantage of that work that I've put in and continue that, because I love what I do. I really, really, really love what I do. And I hope to just, keep my community full of people that are genuinely passionate. That's why I don't really talk too much about, I know we'll probably dive into a camera shoot on what, but I'm not a big tech guy. Personally, I'm not a big tech guy. I'm not a big equipment person I don't talk too much about it on my channel, because I'm a believer of, like, if you have the passion, you have the willpower, it doesn't matter if you have the R50 or if you have the R1. Like, if you have like that desire to make it happen, you can make it happen. Yeah.
How long have you been doing this?
Videos, starting with my iPhone and GoPro when I was 18. So that was 2011, 2012. So it's been about 12 13 years. Yeah.
And so are you happy with?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh right? Yeah. I love my life, and I love what I've built. And again, and one of the coolest parts is I get to bring up my friends that also do it. And that's the coolest thing. Like, I just worked on one of the launch videos for the R5 Mark II, and the whole crew was just my buddies. Yeah. And I'm like, this is what we're doing. Come on, guys, let's go. And for me, that's how I know I've made it more than anything else. It's like I can lift up other people around me and bring them on to cool projects and connect my friends with other sponsors or clients, and bring them on trips with me around the world to shoot and make cool videos. To me, that's what it's all about, and it's a really special thing. Yeah.
All right, so let's get into it then. Let's do the little pivot, because
good little segue.
We're talking about Canon.
I know what you want to talk about.
No, I was actually gonna say, what did it mean to you to become part of the Canon Ambassador program?
Man, everything. Like, for knowing how much work you put in throughout your career, and to have something like I remember buying my R5 and just geeking out with my buddy, like, dude, this camera is insane. Yeah. Like, when the R5 first came out, we're freaking out. And I remember that moment, in full circle 4 years later now, like, I'm a part of the R5 Mark II launch. Like, that's insane. That's wild. I would have never expected to be a Canon ambassador, nonetheless, like, be a part of the launch campaign for a camera that helped take off my entire career. And yeah, it's a special moment. I'm an emotional guy, and just looking back at stuff like that always gets me teary-eyed, because I know how much work I've put into it, and I know what that journey's been like. And it's really cool to know that, like, when I look back at younger Sam grinding, like, not sure of how things are going, to be like, dude, we directed a launch campaign for the R5. Like, that's cool, man. Yeah.
Right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so, like, on this, like, personal level, I can imagine, like, how rewarding it must have been. And even, like, calling your friends or your mom.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Your family and stuff, and be like, well, you got to be on an NDA. There's a lot of, strict legal and things like that. But you're like, hey, I got something important to tell you. Like, that must have been, like core memory, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, for this campaign, I got to bring on some of my closest friends. Connor McCann helped me shoot it. Chase Viken, Chris Baladeras, guys that I've been, like, around for a while. To be able to bring them up onto a shoot like this has been really, really cool. Yeah, and it was a special moment. Slick Bomb was the pilot for that film, and he was just a subscriber of mine, which is crazy. The things that you do. I literally just posted on my story one day. I'm like, hey, the film's called Infinite Sky, and I posted on my story, I'm looking for people who just do cool and interesting things. And Bradley Wenzel is an aerial photographer. He reached out to me. Incredible air-to-air. He takes photos of planes for a living. And he's like, I know this pilot, Slick Bomb. He's all about creating, all about making things. And I got connected with him. And Slick had known who I was. And I was like, this is insane. And he flies a 1944 or 42 Stearman biplane. And it's just one of the coolest, nicest guys ever. And he was like, let's make a film. Yeah. And I went out to Pennsylvania with the crew and the R5 Mark II, and got to be one of the first people in the world to make a video with that. And we made it in like from the time I got hit up to prep to shooting to editing, it was like 3.5 weeks. So it was a lot, but I'm so excited about how it all turned out. The film's called Infinite Sky. Little plug. It's now available here on the Canon USA channel. So if you want to check it out.
Yeah.
But that was a hell of an experience, and yeah, it's something I'm definitely very proud of.
Yeah. No problem for you. I mean, you got all this. You're used to that, right? I mean, of course, having 3.5 weeks to make something is pretty incredible. But like, yeah, kudos to you, man.
But
like,
I'm also, like I said, I'm a doer, and I like to pride myself. This isn't my first Canon project I've ever worked on, and so I'm part of the Canon Collab Ambassador Group, and it's just, you know, there's so many incredible photographers and filmmakers that are a part of that group. That when I saw the lineup, I'm like, oh my God, like really, really big time shooters. And I was just a YouTuber, and I knew, you know, I had some momentum, but like it was at the time where I was the only one without the blue check mark. And I was like the only one. I'm like, I have to prove myself somehow. And they basically were like, hey, you're part of this now. Pitch us the projects you want, and let's make something happen. And I was like, cool. Within probably a week of learning I was an ambassador, I had a project pitched. It was called Eye of the Storm. And within 2 weeks after that, I had flown to Norway, made the video, and had a film premiere in LA within 2 months of being an ambassador. Like before anybody else on the ambassador program had a chance to even blink, I had already made something.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like my bread and butter, and what I'm really proud of. It's like I see opportunities and I know when to jump on them. And I think that's why Canon trusted me for something like this, because I've worked with Canon in the past plenty of times, but not only my ability to come up with a creative idea, but like, okay, you need this and you need this now. Cool. What's next? Within a day, I'm planning and executing. And I think that's just big advice for a lot of people. It's like, if you see an opportunity in life, you can't sit around and be like, oh, I'm not sure if I'm ready. I'm not sure. Like, assume that you're the right person for that. That was set on your lap for a reason. You're the right person for the job, and just do whatever it can in your power to make it happen. And if you do that, and you have that confidence, and you have that kind of swagger, for lack of a better term, about you, then you can go and make things happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I actually remember when the marketing team said, hey, we're going to have Sam Newton as one of our collab ambassadors. I was like, or we're going to reach out to him. I was like, great, let's do it. You know, because we've been big fans of your work personally, again, because, hey, we watch YouTube and stuff. And so, you know, when you were publishing these videos, of course, and we'll get to, you know, some of them as well, it was just like, this guy's got a lot of personality. His work is great. You know, and again, not trying to float the boat too much, but
I appreciate
hey, man, like, you do great stuff. So it's like, it's great. It's nice to see somebody being quote unquote rewarded or recognized.
I appreciate that
for doing good work.
Thank you.
You know, and so.
I think more than good work, like I know that my stuff is solid.
Yeah.
But more than good work, I think what stood out to people about my channel was it's just different.
Yeah.
Just, I'm a very different kind of creator. And I think, if anything, it's just a testament to other people that are sitting at home right now trying to pave their own path, that there's always a path to be made. And your individual story, your individuals, and, you know, in the world of AI taking creators' jobs, or people being afraid of stuff like that, the one thing that you have that no one else can ever take, that no one else will ever take, is your story, your voice, who you are as a person. It's the one thing that you have that literally no one else can have. So that's where people connect on a human level. And that's where I think something like YouTube is so special, because there will always, I don't think the market will ever be too saturated for people that connect with other humans. You know, Peter McKinnon might not be the best photographer in the world. He's an incredible photographer. He might not be the best photographer. He might not be the best filmmaker, but God, does he know how to connect with somebody?
Yeah.
And that's where I think, you know, if you have this desire to connect with humans, if you have an ability to just want to be a people person, then I think even if you're not the best creative in the world, YouTube and the internet is a great spot to, you know, give yourself a platform to then work on incredible projects. Because I know I'm not the best filmmaker that Canon has access to. That's a fact. Like, there are other filmmakers that would blow me out of the water, but what I do have is, like, you know, I'm not afraid to share my journey. I'm not afraid to share my story. And I think that's gone a very long way.
Yeah. I mean, because again, it's like people are tuning in for you now, right? You know, again, not just your work. You know, because again, you do good work, but it's also because you are a good person. You know, like,
Thank you.
Yeah, you know,
Needed that.
you know, you're a good person. It's like, yeah, it's like we can have a good time. We can laugh, and it's like you're not this like standoffish kind of a guy. You know, it's just like you're actually like you're a real.
I appreciate it. Until the cameras
human.
are off.
Until then you're like, oh, I need to get out of here. You know, but really, it's just like. I was really happy that you were recognized as part of being the collab ambassador. Yeah. So it was good news all around, you know. But again, let's get back into the Canon, you know, and we'll get to more like other stuff.
I'm here.
So yeah, you were shooting with the R5, right?
Yeah.
What other cameras?
Mark II.
And now with the Mark II.
Yeah.
Yes. I think I actually. Oh yeah. I have to give you back your lens. I have your lens.
You do have my lens.
I do have your lens.
Don't,
I gotta remember to do that.
I would have forgot.
So now you got to play with the EOS R5 Mark II, right? What did you like most about that camera when you're shooting your Infinite Sky video?
Yeah, absolutely. So my it started with the 1DX2, as a lot of people did. 2016, it's my first Canon camera, and it was just an absolute.
That was your first Canon
1DX2,
camera.
yeah.
Was the 1DX Mark II.
Yeah, well, that was right. Again, I graduated college. I'm like, I need a video camera. Like, I was building some momentum in my business, and I'm like, I need a camera that's a tank. I need a camera. And like at the time, I was a big Peter fan, big Sam Colder fan. Everybody was rocking the 1DX2s. I'm like, this is what I need. So I went from that, and then I got the R5, and then from the R5, I actually kind of I went back, and the R6 was kind of my camera for a while. And then the C70 came out, and I've been C70 is like my camera. That's a me camera through and through. But being able to shoot with the R5 II was super fun. And so now it's like I know my ecosystem's like R5 II for more like YouTube style stuff, and then anything like a bigger film, like having those built-in NDs, having the dynamic range of the C70 is absolutely unmatched, and it's such a fun camera to shoot with.
DGO sensor is just incredible, right?
I love it.
Yeah. You get beautiful images out of that thing. And what about lenses? Because, you know, lens first, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'd say my go-to like setup is the 15 to 35 on the C70. It's like because it has that little bit of a crop, so it's like 20 something to 40 something afterwards, but yeah, that's probably my normal. And then 24 to 70, I'm rocking that. I'm not a huge prime lens guy. Again, I make travel films, so a lot of my stuff is like unplanned. I'm shooting on my toes. I have to like be able to shoot anything, and that's why I love like C70. It's a little bit bigger, but like I have the built-in NDs. I never have to think about NDs. And then I shoot like 24 to 70, and I can cover the majority of the range there. And just again has that look that I'm like. Just feels like a film, you know. Yeah.
So that's it, right? Like
that's it. Yeah, I keep my kit very very light.
Yeah, because
I have other lenses that you know for other things, like the 50 mil 1.2, which you have. But that one's insane. The 50 mil L. What? Here we go. The Canon EOS RF.
No, not EOS.
Oh, it's not EOS. Oh, no. EOS is just. Damn.
We'll try it again.
Here we go.
We'll try
Canon
it again.
RF.
Yeah.
50 millimeter f1.2 L USM lens.
Bravo.
There we go.
There you go.
That's the lens. I've used that a couple times. I did the one for the behind the lens for the 24 to 70, and I remember every single time I'm like the Canon 24 to 70 millimeter f 2.8 L IS USM lens, and I'm saying RF, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many little things, but. Yeah, for the most part, I keep it very, very light. 24 to 70, 15 to 35. Maybe I'll throw in a 50, maybe a 70 to 200, depends on where in the world I'm going. But yeah, I like to keep it easy.
Yeah, because your bag's got to stay light. You got to be nimble. What else do you have in your bag? For the aspiring filmmaker, travel photographer?
Yeah, I do. My drone. And other than that, those are the two pieces of equipment that I don't have. I'm not a gimbal guy. I'm not a tripod guy. I'm like handheld through and through. I love the look. Maybe I'll bring a tripod depending on and then maybe a gimbal sometimes. But for the most part, yeah, I like to keep it light. I also just love the rawness, like a handheld feel gives you, and it just feels much more genuine and authentic and real to me. And I think like gimbals a lot of times remove you from your audience. It's amazing and it feels cinematic and real, but like this when you're holding a camera and you get that shake, it almost feels like you're there with the person, and I really like that kind of look and feel.
Yeah. So how would you define then your like stylistic choices?
I like my travel films to just be, intense, powerful, real. I like to just show places. How I describe it is like I like to go. I don't plan things out first, like my films. I go, I shoot, and then I come back and I just kind of ask myself, like, how did that place make me feel? What was the feeling of that country or the feeling of that location? And then I start like finding songs that kind of match that. Then all my videos for the most part have like voiceover scripts that I write. And then I write a script that just kind of matches that vibe and that tone. And then I glue in the footage after the fact, which sometimes is a nightmare. Sometimes I'm like, damn, I wish I got this shot instead. And I wish I planned it out better. But for me, it feels much more authentic that way. And my films can come out in a way that I really am proud of. Yeah.
So your editing is much more important, or how would you describe that?
I mean, I think they're two peas in a pod, the editing and the filmmaking. I do love editing. I love editing. I love this idea that a lot of people can make a good, like, capture a good image, but it's much harder to tell a good story, you know? And so that comes in the edit. Well, I mean, it comes in the planning. It comes in every process. But for me, being able to tell my story through travel, a lot of it just comes in the edit, and it comes in like that reflection process. And I just get to take the images, and mostly I come up with some kind of poetic voiceover that I write, and I just kind of glue it together in the edit. And I love that. And a big thing for me is like, if I feel at the end of the video, like if I'm moved to tears or if I'm feeling something, then I know my audience is going to feel something. And if I don't feel that way, then I know there's going to be some kind of disconnect. So I always try to be slightly dramatic and like a step up with the tone that I want to make, just to make sure my audience actually feels something. And I feel like content and films nowadays on the internet are almost numbing. You just kind of like, cool, what's the next one? What's the next one? Here's a YouTube video about what the best lens to buy is. I want Sam Newton films to be ones that you stop, you watch, and then at the end you feel something. You might not be able to describe, but you have that umph, and you go, and it makes you want to make something. And that's how I want to stand out and how I want to build my legacy, where it's like a little bit different in this world of creating just for the numbers. Not that I don't consider it, but I want to create art that just really inspires a genuine feeling within whoever's watching it.
So the reaction, the emotion, all like that's what inspires you or helps to keep you inspired.
Because I think that's what Hollywood has, that it's like that advantage. You know, when you leave a movie and you're like disassociated from reality, and you leave and you have this like insane feeling about it, that's what like I'm chasing, but on a much smaller scale. Like, why is that reserved for Hollywood? I think any artist, any creator can do that, but you just kind of have to be willing to be a little cliche at times. You have to be willing to be corny or look dumb, or, you know, have people not consider it good in order to actually move some people and move them on a big level. Yeah,
because in order to push that needle and move it forward, it's like you can't make everybody happy, right? You know, so as long as you stay true to yourself, I think you know, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Right? Keep it engaging for you people. The numbers game.
Okay.
Do you chase the
of
numbers
course.
now?
I mean, I feel like it's also my job now. Right. I'm a YouTuber. Like if I have a sponsor, I want the video to perform well, but I consistently ask myself, like, all right, for my films, at least my bigger films, I just ask myself, like, hey, in 5 years down the line, am I going to look back at this video and smile? Is this going to be something that still moves me? And if the answer to that is yes, then like, cool. If I can also make something that might perform well on the algorithm, why not? But that's really big to me, because then it's a win-win. Because if you're just playing for the views and it flops, it feels horrible. You don't feel good as an artist, and you don't feel good as it just feels like a gross feeling because you feel like you failed. But if you're making something that you're genuinely proud of, it is a dagger in the heart to make a piece of art that you're proud of that kind of flops, for lack of a better word. But I'm a firm believer, if you make good enough art, like, people will stick around to watch, even if it's a small community, because how cool, everyone can think of one band that they listened to before they blew up, and how cool it is to know that. If you're making good art, there's so many people that aren't commenting, that aren't DMing you, that are watching from the shadows thinking like, that's so sick.
Yeah.
I love this person's work, and I want to like almost. I wish they don't blow up because I love being a part of this like small community, and those are the things you don't ever see until you blow up, and until it's like, oh, here are the numbers, here are the sponsorship deals. So I think there's always a lot more people appreciating your work than you might consider, and even if it's 500 views on a YouTube video, that's 500 people. That's 500 eyes, and of that, you could have 70 people that really, really love your work, but aren't necessarily like reaching out and DMing and commenting. So just something important to think about because it is my job. I want it to perform well, but I also, the depth to me is much more important, and what I think will allow me to, or will allow artists that focus on depth to outlast artists that don't. If that makes sense.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Because you never know who's watching your stuff, right? You know, I mean, again, it could be a CEO of a company or executive, and they're like, hey, I like that guy. Let's just keep that in the file bank. Kind of
and
thing,
you never know when that next social media is when YouTube's gonna crash, or when TikTok, or when that next social media is gonna come. And if you're just based off this algorithm that's feeding you to people because they're like, it's quick, it's easy. I want it to be, people are coming, they're like, there's a new social media or whatever. It's like, what's Sam Newton doing? Like, he was always someone who made good stuff. Like, I wonder if he's on this platform. And coming from that interest, as opposed to like an algorithm spoon feeding you, that to me is a much more important community to build. And that's where the longevity comes. And that's where I've built my career.
So what have you been most proud of?
Most proud of?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Let's go.
In my whole career?
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you two answers. Like one specific project, I would have to say this most recent R5 Mark II, just because it's a culmination of my entire career.
Okay.
And it's just something to be able to be a part of a launch that big and be trusted and have worked so hard to get to that point. It's really, really cool, and I'm very grateful, the entire Canon team, for believing in me on that. And then I'm just most proud of like the fact that I still make videos now like I did when I was 17. Like, I really, really, truly do. They're just as dumb. They're just as like if I had a big idea when I was 17 or 18, I went and I made it. And I still do that now. I still make the same silly rap songs. I still make big, powerful films about my life. And although they've changed and they pivoted a little bit, but like, I've stayed pretty true to the artist I was when I first started, and that's what I'm like the most proud of. Because I think it's super easy to kind of go off the rails. And if you look back on my films on my YouTube channel that you said you watch back in the day, like, they're dumb and they're silly and they're fun, and there's some like meaningful ones. Yeah. But I'd like to think they're, if you really look at those and then look at my more recent ones, I like to think that ecosystem has kind of stayed the same. Yeah.
Actually, it has. Yeah. It really has. I've been, my whole YouTube feed has been nothing but Sam. Sam
that's what happens. When you research a podcast, I'm everywhere.
That's it. And it's like, it's so funny. Like, your music videos are so like, just like it's funny. It's engaging. It's entertaining. Your travel videos are great, you know? So yeah, it's been nice to see that you really have had this consistency, even though it's diverse. You've had this consistency, which is, kudos to you. Yeah,
because it's what I loved doing when I started, and luckily it's still what I really love doing. So
yeah. So with all the travels and everything, because traveling is important. I love traveling. What have you learned about yourself, and what have you learned about people? You know, I mean, because in order to like really, I think you learn so much more with the whole traveling in a sense.
Absolutely. I think traveling for the most part has taught me like the art of noticing, because when you're not traveling, you kind of turn your brain off, and you become so used to everything. And so everything just becomes a lot of time redundant, and that's a choice. Like, that's something that you can choose, even if I'm not saying you have to travel the world to notice. That's the big thing that I think traveling has taught me. It's like, I go to Iceland, and I pretty much return to Iceland every single year. It's my favorite place in the world. It's a relatively easy place to get to from Europe or the States. And it's just a place that like consistently reminds me. I go on a road trip, and it just constantly changes. Every 30 minutes in Iceland, if you just road trip the South Coast, if that's all you get to do, every 30 minutes there's a different view, a different site. And I just have no desire to check my phone. I just pull over to the side. I'm like, this is amazing. Shoot a little bit. And it's that art of just noticing life, which I think in, you know, our industrial age, it's just kind of tougher to do, but it makes you more intentional when you're back of like, okay, I need to make this a priority of mine, because that's when I feel the most alive, when I'm moving, when I'm seeing and witnessing something completely new. But that's not exclusive to traveling. That you just might need to you might need to travel 30 minutes away from your house to just a new hike and go on that. And it really does kind of change your perspective on a whole lot of things, and allows you to break the systems in place in your mind that are just like consistent, and allows me at least to step back and remind myself of what matters. That's why I love, also just a weird element of traveling that I love that makes me a psychopath, is I love flying. I love flying. I love looking out of a plane, being in a window seat, and just there's something about it, of being up there, that resets my entire life every single time. When I'm in the air going to somewhere new, I'm just thinking about like, wow, that one problem that I was freaking out over like 3 days ago, all of a sudden, for some reason, when you're in the air, you're just like, it doesn't matter.
It's gone.
It doesn't matter.
You're 30,000 feet up.
Yeah. It's way less important than I thought it was. So I do love that freedom, but it's just being very intentional. And I think traveling teaches you to be intentional, and teaches you to notice the things in life and be present in that moment. And obviously the other obvious answer is just you're just introduced to so many different new people and perspectives, and like, especially being an American, you're just taught so many things, and so like, this is how life is, and you go somewhere else and they're like, oh, you stupid Americans. You do not know. I don't know what accent that was, but yeah, I think it's really, really important to just go and really experience those things. And on a human level, you really connect to people, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And you know, you've said it already. You're an emotional guy.
Very, yeah.
Right. Sometimes do you feel like you overshare, or you share? You know, do you feel like you share too much?
There's that blurred line for sure. I'm a sharer. You know, I talk about, if there's something big in my life on my channel, I'll talk about it. But I think that's where the depth comes from. I think I want to show the highs. I want to show the lows. I want to show when my life is good, when my life is bad. And I think that human level allows me to connect with people a lot more. And yeah, I think it's something special. And I like you said, I appreciate, you said earlier, I'm like, I really pride myself. I want to be the same person when the camera's off as when the camera's on. And that takes a long time, because like, normally when you hit record, you're just at first you're staring, you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to put my hands. And it takes a long time to just like, okay, I'm not talking to the camera. I'm talking to one person. And that's where the light bulb switched. It's not an original idea to me. I heard it somewhere. But like, when you're talking to the camera, you're not talking like, everyone's like, what's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. What's up, people? Welcome back. And you're talking to everyone, right? Reverse engineer that. Talk to one person. I just pick one person in my life that I really, really care about. It's like, okay, my buddy Luke or my mom. Like, make the video for them, because most of the people watching your video, it's just one person on the other side of the camera. And if you can connect with that one person, then chances are you're going to connect with 100 or 1,000. And that's the beauty of it. And I think there is that weird blurred line with the internet, but I think it's really important for me to try to stay true. So when I'm sad, I cry. When I'm happy, I laugh. And that's just how I have to live my life. And if I don't, then for me, it would start feeling weird. It would feel fake. It would feel forced. Yeah.
That's good advice.
Right.
People who are just starting out.
Canon Unscripted, you know?
Canon Unscripted.
We're here to give you good advice. We're here to help you learn. Put this on. Listen to us in the car.
There you go.
Run it back
Tune
another
in
time.
and just chill and, learn. Yeah. Absolutely. So what's it like running your business too? Right? Because like, you're full-time YouTuber.
That is my business. YouTube is I gave up. So I had my travel media company, but I gave it when COVID started. I gave it up. When COVID started, basically I was like, well, we can't make travel films right now. So I took all the footage and I started making stuff on YouTube. And I don't take any client gigs anymore. And that was an active decision. Now it's paid off. Now it's like, all I do is make YouTube videos, and I make a good living doing that. It's incredible. But that was something I had to make an active decision, because when I first went into YouTube, like, I was like, oh, I'm making a couple of videos every few months, and it would kind of add a little bit of momentum, but not. You have to make an active decision to be like, I'm a YouTuber now, which means I say no. If a client reaches out and wants this gig, I say no. Because why? I have to be working on a YouTube film that week. And that takes time, and that you have to save up some money and have a little bit of runway. But I think that was one of my biggest keys to success on the platform, is like, once I had built up a little bit of success and a little bit of momentum and a little bit of savings to give myself a runway, I'm like, I'm going to give myself 6 months of YouTube. Not a single client, not a single, and if it works, it works. If not, I can always go back. And I did that, and I haven't taken a client project since. Just 100% YouTube, yeah.
100%. Yeah. Wow. All right. I mean, was that a tough decision for you?
Absolutely. But then you learn, and I'm a business guy, and so, you know, I've done that, and through sponsors on my channel, through my own digital assets, I sell my own like LUTs for video coloring. If you want to color your videos as best as possible, I have my own LUTs. I have a digital assets company called Interfade that helps with transitions and stuff. And it's just things.
Where can they find that?
Interfade.com, immersion LUTs on gamut.io. So a little plug there, but really just products that I stand behind, that I've built, that I know I don't have to feel like I'm selling someone, you know, or like take on a sponsor that doesn't feel right, because I'm like, all right, this is my own product. This is something that feels good. And after a while, people hopefully see the colors on my films. They're like, wow, that is amazing. That looks good. If this is achievable, maybe I'll buy the product. And this isn't me trying to sell anything, I swear to God. But yeah, to me, it was really important to find ways to combine business with something I really loved, and through YouTube I was able to do that.
Yeah. So what else are you in business of then? I mean, again, you can upsell here. We're all
that's it. Just those assets. Interfade. I got the LUTs, and
we were hoping for the turtlenecks.
Oh,
Come
yeah,
on,
that's what you really want.
That's what
people want. Yeah. I no longer sell the turtlenecks.
Okay.
For those of you who don't know, I wear a turtleneck on my channel. In a lot of my videos, and I say stay creamy, which a lot of people are thrown off by, but it's basically just I wear a cream colored turtleneck, and it just started as kind of a bit. This funny joke I used to say, and me and my friends ran around New Zealand one month and all bought cream colored turtlenecks, and it was a hilarious month, and it just kind of stuck, and I was like the turtleneck guy, and I found a way to like stand out, and it was cool coming up to people to be like, who's that guy? Like, I don't know his name. Like the guy who wears the turtlenecks makes the songs about cameras. Then to me, it was like a cool marketing play. But no, I no longer sell turtlenecks. Okay. So unfortunately, I know you at home, you were waiting for the turtleneck plug, but they are not available online.
So what's the advice then that you would give to people that want to start out and make this part of their life, or to even try?
I think my biggest piece of advice every single time is just try to make videos you love with the people you love. You know, if you can do that, then you're winning, no matter what, no matter how many views you get, how much money you get. Because like now, like I've come from a place where now I do get decent views and I do make an okay living, but I'm still doing it I'm making the videos I love with the people I love. And I've done that. Like, you get paid tomorrow for what you make today, which is like one of the biggest things. Like, I'll say it again. You get paid tomorrow for what you make today. And if you want to make a music video, if you want to make a living directing music videos, you have to make music videos. And so I wanted to make travel films, and I knew for the first few years that wasn't going to happen. I wasn't going to make money doing it, but I wanted to make the videos that I really loved. And I knew eventually if somebody was getting paid out there to make it, why not me? And as long as that I was able to do it with people that I truly love being around, then that to me is success. So it's not always going to work out for people in that way, but as long as you're consistently reminding yourself, like whether you're a photographer, whether you're a filmmaker or another creative pursuit, am I at least a couple times a year working on 1 or 2 or 3 projects that I'm just very, very proud of, and I'm bringing on people that I want to create with? That to me is success. And even if you have a job that you don't love creating what you're creating right now, it might give you the funds to then fund your passion project. And then, you know, there's a different balance to that, but constantly reminding yourself why you started, why you picked up that camera, and that feeling you had when you first started shooting. To me, that's so important. And as long as you can keep chasing that feeling, then that to me is success. Yeah.
So then what's next?
What's next? Ooh, I'm going to Norway soon.
Norway.
That should be good.
Are we going to Norway?
Are we all going to Norway?
Tony, we're going to Norway.
I'm sure there's some Norwegians out there. I don't know when this is going to go live. I might already be in Norway, so hit me up. I'm going to Norway in end of August here. And then from there, just get back, reset, and plan whatever the next trip is. I would love to go to Antarctica. That would be my 7th continent, and it would be a cool full circle thing for me to get out to Antarctica. So it'd basically be about 10 years of traveling. And so it would be really cool to get out there, and hopefully by the end of the year, maybe with Canon, we'll make that happen. So you never know.
We're going to Antarctica?
Yeah.
We're going to... Tony, we're going to Antarctica.
Come on, guys.
Let's go. All right. So, hey, where can people follow you online?
Yeah. You follow me.
As we wrap things up,
you can follow me around West LA if you really
West
want
LA,
to. You can
okay.
just find me, follow me around. No, I'm Sam Newton. It's just my name, Sam Newton, on YouTube and Instagram. Those are the 2 places I exist. And I love doing these things, and hopefully you at home, you got something out of this. If you do, shoot me a DM at Sam Newton on Instagram after you finish this. I love to hear people like check in after episodes like this, because to me it makes it real. Like right now it's just me and you in a room. I love like breaking that wall and actually being able to connect with people. So shoot me a message at Sam Newton on Instagram. I will do my best to respond. And yeah, that's where you can find me. And on YouTube, Sam Newton.
Great. Sam, thanks for being on the show. Really appreciate you taking the time out of your day, and hope you have a blast in Norway.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thank you for watching back at home. Canon Unscripted. All right, best show, your new favorite podcast. Make sure you're subscribed where you find all your podcasts. Make sure you subscribe right here to the Canon USA YouTube channel. That's important. And share this with a friend or 2 or 7. You know, you never know. 7 friends would be ideal.
Thanks, Sam. Sam, you did my job. You did my closing for
just
me.
Plugging, you know?
I love it. Thanks. Thanks so much,
USA.
man.
Buy yourself a Canon camera. Go get it.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next Canon Unscripted show.
Here we go.
Hi, everyone.
Keep it in. Keep it in. This is a good start. Keep it running. Let's go.
The heavy hitting. Let's go.